Postdoc transformation. Postdoc transformation. Postdoc transformation. Invest in your postdoc transformation. Welcome to the seasonal show for scientists leaping into business. In every sponsored episode, we are happy to recommend employers of choice for you. Make sure to check your readiness to leap out of science with us for free, as linked in the show notes. For your career transition, we offer customized career transition e-courses and memberships also at graduate schools all over the world. Maybe yours too. And if your university isn't yet our customer, enroll in your free email course for career transition made simple, as linked in the show notes. I'm your host, Professor Dr. Eleonore Soei-Winkels, with my team who is rooting for you. And let's build your postdoc transformation with this episode. Welcome to the Postdoc Transformation Show. You are in for a treat. Today we are welcoming my friend who I found on TikTok. When I had 0 followers, I was just merely browsing TikTok videos and I found PhDHardtalk. So without further ado, I want to welcome Noma Mguni, Master in International Business Management, and the stage is all yours to share about your project dissemination to the world, PhDHardtalk.
Hello, and thank you so much for having me, and thank you for being my friend and collaborating with me on some of the content. I think the Pirates of the Caribbean was the best that we ever did. Like literally, it was spontaneous with my dog, but it was fun.
Absolutely, I loved it. I really do love that. I try to do things in TikTok, like I said, and you were game. Whatever you would do, I would always endorse you.
Thank you. So you don't know who I am. I'm Noma Mguni. I am the founder and the host of PhDHardtalk, and PhDHardtalk is about community in research. When I started my PhD at the University of Derby, I realized my research is only based in Derby and no one knows anything about it. So how do I disseminate my work and prove that I'm actually disseminating my work to the world? YouTube, right? Because my examiner can just type it in and they will find it. So PhDHardtalk was born. And I've interviewed people from the US, Africa, Asia, Kuala Lumpur. That was when I thought, I made it. Mom, I made it. I'm sent because I've never heard of it. And I've spoken to so many people from different disciplines, and to a point where I've spoken to somebody now who is a physician in the US. And I never thought I would speak to an actual doctor in terms of medicine doctor. So that was like, thank you for marriage. Look at me, I made it. But essentially, without the guest, PhDHardtalk would be nothing. So this is also a way of saying thank you and for believing in the vision that I thought of, because I'm lazy. Lazy people are the best entrepreneurs. It's like literally we are. PhDHardtalk is about giving us a voice outside of academia and ensuring that the communities in which we go in and conduct our research, they understand what it is that we're doing, and that sometimes we might not be breaking the barrier, but we're just adding on to the body of knowledge. Essentially, if, for example, people were looking at cancer, people were looking at malaria. I've got somebody who was looking at herbs in South Africa, in Limpopo, to do with AIDS, and that alone, to me, it takes a lot, because AIDS, we've known about it. I mean, there's medicine now, but to know that we could potentially find a cure in herbs, breaking barriers, right? So PhDHardtalk is about all of us, and I make crazy content on TikTok, to which my professional colleagues may not understand. What is she doing? And I try and...
But keep going, because I love it.
But on Instagram, I try and be professional, and on LinkedIn, I try and be more than professional. But then professional, again, it's up to the person in terms of perception. That is PhDHardtalk.
I love it, because PhDHardtalk really, for me, is something where you share science communication which is really important at the heart of every aspiring scientist. But also at the end of the day, I see videos where you share also advice on applying for scholarships and PhD vacancies and so much more. So I really do think that every early career scientist, regardless of the location, should also tune in to your YouTube channel. And I'll make sure that we link to that in the show notes so that you won't miss the new season that is upcoming. Would you like to tease out the next videos, Noma?
So series 5, I think, is really exciting because I'll share an interesting fact about PhD Hard Talk that I realized. It's more of my male colleagues that say yes around the world. And when it comes to my female colleagues, they're usually more hesitant. And I believe in equity, gender balance. That's why sometimes they even delay in terms of when the series actually comes out, because it was more men that say yes. And I'm like, where are the women? But in terms of what's coming up this series, I've spoken to physicians, which I've said that alone was like amazing. I have spoken to some postdocs and some PhDs, but I'm currently looking for DBA because I haven't spoken to a DBA. And if you are a DBA, please send a message. My details will be at the bottom. And we can have a chat, because that is the only missing link. I've spoken to master's students who are planning to go on to do their PhDs while they were waiting for their responses. They were in China, moving to the US, which is exciting. But I haven't really spoken to any DBA. So this series is exciting because I have physicians and I had PhDs in medicine and also humanities and social sciences in that order. So yeah, series 5.
And once you have determined your readiness to leap and want to transition into business or industries, then you can enroll in your free email course with 10 actionable, bingeable email lessons until you start your job in business. You'll get 10 emails like this. Number 1, how to leap out of science. Number 2, how to build your sustainable LinkedIn profile. Number 3, how to read social media and network. Number 4, how to research your favorite jobs and employers. Number 5, how to do informational interviews to get insights. Number 6, how to create your customized applications with ChatGPT. Number 7, how to prepare your thesis from a business point of view. Number 8, how to apply to your favorite employers. Number 9, how to choose the right job offer. Number 10, how to prepare for your new job. Perfect. And we'll make sure that all the DBAs looking to have a voice in the public, but also in science, we'll make sure that they will be appearing in your show. And as to your imbalance of male versus female, I cannot really relate to that. All my guests so far are women. So maybe it's because I target women. Maybe it's because I targeted the underprivileged, the underrepresented. Specifically, not so many male colleagues have the audacity to ask. They do ask, and I also interview them, and I'll try to schedule them somewhere. But usually all the women I ask are prompt in answering, in replying. So in my next season, I'm so excited to have the Future of Work series, season as I call it, with a lot of thought leaders across the globe on different topics within their industry. And the topic is always around the future of work. So whatever is top of mind that should be listened to from someone who is graduating from a university, grad school, or bachelor or undergrad, whatever it is, these are interesting episodes for everyone.
It's interesting that women say yes to you. And then it's also interesting in terms of the future of work, because when we're looking at it at this moment in time, everything is becoming automized and a lot of people be made redundant. So what are they actually going to do?
I know. And as you are also looking into HR topics, and I'm a professor for industrial occupational psychology, this is topic for many interviews, but really it is frightening for me as well, because I really do think that my students When they enter the workforce, they will probably have to work with a lot of people who are not fit for the future of work, and how to deal with that, how to lead people who are not fit, and how to work with machines. These are the challenges that young students will have to face. I'm probably 10 years older than you. I have always been working with people, but I have been working with AI for a year now, and I have to say that I actually enjoy working with AI.
Wow.
Sometimes even more than with people.
No, that's
So
a given
really,
though. That's a given because people, they're complicated to work with.
exactly. The thing is, really, what I try to teach my own students is to understand how they can utilize machines to achieve their business goals, because business is done by people with people, not with machines.
No.
Emotions are a human thing.
Mm-hmm.
Machines are not going to buy anything if the message is not a solution for a human problem. I'm not going to buy anything.
That is true.
All right. I want to switch gears to your platform again, because I see that you have also mentioned that you are on TikTok and LinkedIn and you are on various platforms, and you say that you are specifically trying to be more business on LinkedIn and more fun on here. So do you think that the social media skills that you have gained, are they a natural thing? Where did you learn them? Because I know that they're not part of the curriculum at grad school or university. So how do you see a change in the science communication skills or requirements nowadays when you talk with PhD students all over the world?
In terms of communication, it is difficult. I've had feedback from different colleagues of mine who said you need to speak to people with more of a personality, for example, then you would get more views. And then I've had feedback that say make it more glamorous in terms of your recording because people eat with their eyes. They want to see something beautiful. When I started PhD Hard Talk, and they'll back me up on this, I said, I don't want to follow trends because if I have to follow trends, I will get tired. And I'm not organic to myself, and I'm not organic to the viewers, nor to anybody else. I want to be able to jump on, just as I've jumped on today, and be me. I'm not dressed in a suit. This is what you see on YouTube, a t-shirt, and I crack on, essentially, right? And I said, with trends, we can try to set our own trends as to who PhD Hard Talk is. Then there is brand awareness. People know who PhD Hard Talk is. From the communication, the way we write, because sometimes they'll get really annoyed if they've made grammatical errors. I said, it's normal. No one's perfect. I said, missing a vowel or messing up the sentence, it shows that we are normal human beings. And perfection doesn't exist, in my opinion. We can strive towards perfection, but for us to get to that point where we say this is perfected, it's up to the individual, because I know the journey for PhD Hard Talk. So in terms of the trends and the communication, sometimes we might hop on a trend, but because I did drama as well, which is something most people don't know. So I did drama for when I was young, and then I did dance as well. So I even did it at A level. So when it comes to characters and, making people laugh, it comes naturally because I think I was really good at drama. And I did music as well, so I can play a few instruments if you set me down and said you have to. But, it's been a while since I've played a few instruments. But if you set me down and said, no, but you have to play the piano, I'm like, okay, remind me again where A is, and I'll probably will come back again. So essentially, with PhD Hard Talk, the way I've tried to communicate, because I know that on LinkedIn, there's a bit of a stigma, and people have a way of viewing what professional is. And this comes from my HR background, because I want to say, okay, you say the employee is unprofessional. Tell me what professional is. And usually, most people can't quantify what professional is. And when they say it, it's quite generalistic. And I say, okay, so where is that in the culture of the organization? Help me see it. What is professionalism? What does this business say about professionalism? So I understand. Then we can speak to the employee and say that's our code of conduct. So essentially with PhD Hard Talk, because I had feedback, I was meant to almost collaborate with a company, and they said to me, we can't work with you because you're not professional. They said it comes across like a skit. And I said, that's all right. On your way out. That's okay. And I said, but before you go, explain to me what professional is so that I know for future. Then if somebody comes back and says to me, this is not professional, then I can put them in that box and say, that's the box that I don't want to work in, because I understand that the PhD journey is difficult. And sometimes when I read some of the comments that I get back, or some of the videos from my other colleagues on TikTok as well and Instagram, I relate. You know, when it comes to deadlines, I relate to when I don't love my PhD. I relate to that. Or when you have to go and do a teaching gig and you've got deadlines, I relate to that because I'm going through it myself. So essentially, with communication, I wanted it to be organic and I wanted it to reflect a PhD student's life and also my professional side, which we've never managed to merge together perfectly.
From episode 1 and counting, I have proudly hosted all our postdoc transformation show episodes on Podbean. As a former IT strategy consultant, I have high requirements on my tech stack, and Podbean is my perfect fit for a podcast host. If you want to create your own individual podcast or one for internal upskilling and communications within a company, DM or email me Podbean so I can share my experience and consult you. You can also use my affiliate links for perks launching your own podcast with Podbean. Are you wondering how I do my videos and my podcast in my spare time? Well, Descript is the video and audio editor that I use, and I wish I had since day one of my postdoc transformation show. Descript's AI-powered features make it really easy for me to create branded, long-form and short-form content for my TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, X, Threads, YouTube, LinkedIn game, and whatever it is. Since my first remote interview with international guests from all over the place, I fell in love with their newly acquired Squadcast feature. So all English interviews are transcribed with high accuracy despite the different accents of my guests, mine including. And best of all, I am editing words and not sound waves. They are constantly building new AI-powered features which have helped me to efficiently and effectively promote my business, postdoc transformation, and that's so invaluable as a working mom and active professor. So check it out with my affiliate link in the show notes for launching your own podcast, video show, or even B2B for your internal communication.
What I do is I try and have little videos every now and then whereby I share advice on thinking about your career, your salary, and remembering that you're a woman, because I too am a woman, and the skin tones on top, and some people might come back and say, no, that's not right. People see what they see initially. My experience, I would say woman and then skin tone after. But a lot of people might beg to differ with that. I'm not sure if that answers your question.
It absolutely answered my question, because I really do think that you are outstanding in role modeling authenticity. Like I said, I'm 10 years older than you. I've been always working in IT, career coach in consulting companies.
Yes.
And I'm sick of seeing the same people always. And the same people is not just skin color, it's not just age, it's the merge of everything that is always the same behavior. I don't want my own kids, my own children who are not ready for university. But once they enter university, I want to let them know that they don't have to change in order to be successful, but they have to find the right setting, the right company where they can be successful, where they are recognized, where they are appreciated because of being them, because they can make a difference. And the seasoned leaders that I see nowadays, they do the same that they have been taught in their lives, in their professional life, in their socialization, which is okay because that has brought them so far. But I think the future of work requires something else. And it requires being true to oneself and to know oneself's worth and to be confident about that and not change oneself to be fitting into a mold. And that's why I'm really curious about your offerings in terms of how do you coach and mentor senior managers from different industries who want to be themselves and not fit into the mold.
So usually with the contract work that I do, I coach managers in terms of day-to-day behaviors, conduct, be it bias, stereotypes, and also in regards to their own careers as well. Most people, they wait for their line managers to essentially say, well, we think now you're ready for a step up. You know when you're ready. And they will then say, this is your salary. We think you deserve 5% more because you did well on the project. If you want to learn new skills, for example, you want to be a better communicator and you want to present more. But when they say no, you now know that they don't have your best interest. I always say, do read the book, Who Moved My Cheese? And when you read that book, you realize politics as well. Because sometimes with the way we've touched on it in terms of globalization and new AI and all this stuff that's coming out, a lot of businesses are downsizing, and some of the conversations you're not privy to depending on where you are in the company. When they know that they'll be downsizing, they might say no to you because of budget restraint and anything else that comes into it, but also because they fear that you will go into their position because somebody behind closed doors has started the currency of mentioning your name to say that person, they're multi-skilled. So even if we were to move this and do A, B, C, D, they could cover that. So we get our money's worth and we'll increase the salary and they will block you and frustrate you. And when you act up, they say, look, so unprofessional. So I said, you have to have that mindset whereby you know that a business is people, as you said, and they have emotions, but understand a business needs to sustain itself as well. So from money side, being competitive in the market and know what's going on in terms of companies coming into that country to invest as well. So you have to have that awareness and understand. And I say this, you might disagree, that you are a brand. And when you know that you are a brand, you have to work on your brand worthiness and build yourself up so that you always add value. Even if you say, I am going to leave, they'll say, no, we need that person. So they'll be willing to work with you, to enable you to stay and also to work on your if it's career goals. Maybe you just want more money. Some people want money. Some people want a title just so you have it so you can show off to your friends. Who knows what makes you smile or what makes you happy.
And now it's time to thank Company ABC, who sponsors this episode of the Postdoc Transformation Show. I would now be reading the company's answers to one of 6 bold questions so that you can choose to apply. For example, number 1, describe your most valuable experts versus leaders in your company. Have they typically earned a doctor title? Number 2, for which of your company roles or units do you encourage somebody with a doctor title to apply? Number 3, how would you describe your organizational culture in which your most valuable experts and leaders thrive in? To nominate an employer of choice so that we can ask our informative bold questions, let us know via the click on the link. If you are a company representative, like in recruiting and employer branding, and now you want your company to be highlighted as an employer of choice for our audience, you can become a sponsor of a dedicated Postdoc Transformation Show episode. Just click on the link in the show notes. And now, back to the Postdoc Transformation episode.
When I'm coaching different individuals, they all have different needs and different wants. But the reality is there's red tape everywhere. If you get into an organization and they're playing rugby, you have to play rugby to stay in that company. You can't play table tennis, otherwise you're gone. And all they need to do is build a dossier app and work with HR. And next thing, you're on garden leave, depending on where you are. On the lad, they're giving you some paperwork to sign, and they'll pay you for 3 months, 6 months, depending on your notice. And you are gone, essentially. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I've tried to paint a picture.
Absolutely, Noma. And I totally agree in the sense of I try to teach my students as well. You have to know the name of the game, and you have to learn the rules. These are the set rules. And once you understand them, you can bend the rules, but it's still the rules. It's not something else. And if you don't like the game, it's up to you to leave the field and discover or even create a new playing field that is maybe more even or more equal, everything that you are missing, but you still have to learn the name of the game first. All right, cool. Again, I would love to switch gears and to talk about your various activities and efforts in your PhD project and your research management skills, because you do a PhDHardtalk and still do your research and be a coach. So how do you manage that? Are there any tools that you can recommend to us, especially for scientists leaping into business who are maybe thinking about creating a side business? And then they will definitely have to learn managing their activities. So what are your recommendations?
So I think it starts with person before we get to the project themselves. You have to know what you want, and you have to see the value, and you have to understand that you might not be able, going back to the game, you might not be able to go and use this language, which is probably bad, play with your friends all the time because you're busy, essentially. So with my life, I'm filming content, I'm being interviewed, or I'm interviewing people, planning the interview and planning the content itself, because the content just doesn't appear. You have to sit down and work out different scenarios for each season because of the algorithms and everything. AI plays a big role in it as well. So with each project, be it university and my work life and my personal life, my friend laughed at me and he said, "You're not ready to be a wife." Because to go on a date, you have to check your diary. And he says, "Look at me. Go. I'm available in 3 weeks. Can you spare 2 hours?" And he was like, "That doesn't work. You said we're not ready." I said, "But that's my diary." And he goes, "No. So if I said, can you meet up with me? You can't." I said, "I can't because I've checked the diary." Essentially. So that is my life. So there's a lot of sacrifice that goes into it. So if the time management and the project management, it requires discipline. It requires patience towards yourself and to everybody around you, because you might not be able to make it to all these events, weddings, birthdays, etc. Sometimes you're burnt out. That's it, period. You're just burnt out. You have no energy. To answer your question, in terms of my projects with university, there's Trinka AI that I've worked with. They've asked me to review their services. I try new things as the platform is growing as well and developing itself. That's helped me with my grammar, my spelling, and also checking to see if I've plagiarized, etc. The service is good for me in terms of my thesis, my abstracts, or any papers, developmental papers for any conferences. That has been my best friend. So we are together like this. So that's Trinka AI. I've got Loom Slides as well. The company is really good. Pitch decks for entrepreneurs. If you want a really exciting pitch deck, Loom Slides is your place to go again. So also when I'm guest lecturing as well, so the template's already there, just input all my information. So easy, it's accessible, you can use it anywhere in the world. They're from Europe. No complaints in terms of my slides. Hopefully that answers.
Absolutely answered my question. And so I'll be looking into these apps as well because I haven't heard about them, not many of them.
No, you haven't heard of them because they're startups. The reason why I'm working with startups is because I understand the pain of being a startup when nobody knows you and you have to make a name out of yourself. And that is the reason why, because I looked at the services where they fit for purpose for Noma Mguni and also PhDHardtalk, and it was double ticked. Because with my work, sometimes I work out on my phone. So Trinta AI, you can get the app. So my thesis, I can read it while I'm in the train, when I'm commuting, fit for purpose in that way. And with Loom as well, so I can just access it on my phone. I mean, most apps you can, but I can send the message, it's a quick response, and I've met the people on Teams to have the conversation. So I feel like I am a part of their growth journey, if that makes sense.
That's interesting. Let's get back to you and what are your plans for the future? Because I know that you are pushing PhD Hard Talk as a business and you're probably looking also for partnerships. So I want to know, Noma, why should sponsors work with you and who is the audience of PhD Hard Talk?
PhDHardtalk is my little baby, but it's not longer my baby because it belongs to everybody now. It's everybody's baby, essentially. So why should you work with PhDHardtalk? Surprisingly enough, based on data and research, it's businesses that look into PhDHardtalk. It's not really PhD students or postdoc students that we thought would be our audience and universities, it's the actual businesses themselves. And then you have the researchers, but usually they're clinicians. And then you have the marketing colleagues that have come up as well, which is the third group. I would like to think they like the way I market PhDHardtalk, but we might say that's not true. But that's the reason that I'm going to share. And they love the way PhDHardtalk's marketing is so good. So that's why they look into PhDHardtalk. And in terms of why should you work with PhDHardtalk, I think I'm authentic.
Remember, you are a postdoc transformer. You are highly intelligent, well educated, a bachelor, master, and maybe you have already your doctor under your belt, or you are a postdoc. You are internationally experienced, fluent in English, a leader and expert in your prior research field. You're resilient, brilliant in adaptation and problem solving. You are eager to bring in the transferable and monetizable skills needed in many companies to embrace the future and to become or remain an innovator in their markets. Are you curious to ask professors, principal investigators, visiting scientists, postdocs, PhD students, and candidates some in-depth life and career guiding questions? But it feels cringe, so you end up not asking? Buy our postdoc transformation card game to have more fun and valuable insights in your journal club, lab, and mentoring meetings, lab rotations, during conferences, panels, and breaks at the Mensa. You'll get 10 intriguing mentoring questions per career level. So 10 for PhD students, 10 for postdocs, 10 for professors, 10 for parental scientists, underprivileged and underrepresented and underserved scientists. Check them out with our discount coupon on the Postdoc Transformation shop, linked on postdoctransformation.com. Absolutely. The marketing people, they probably love how you are breaking into the market in the sense of the For You page on TikTok really is for people who don't know you. And still you manage to grow on that platform in a way because you are not just talking, you're not just relating to PhD students, but you are relating to so many human needs.
No, thank you very much. I appreciate that. With the marketing, it has been a strange one because there are so many trends and going to sound that can literally push the video. But what we decided to do, and I don't think for those who actually follow PhDHardtalk, they will realize we stopped following the sounds. We actually put the PhDHardtalk videos from YouTube. So we dropped and we were actually getting the traction would be like 350, 166 sometimes. But we did that strategically just for people to understand that PhDHardtalk is also a YouTube channel. Now, what happened on YouTube and what happened on Twitter out of that is that the number absolutely went up. So I think on Twitter we're 8,000 followers, if I'm correct. And then with YouTube, we were stuck at like 100 followers in terms of subscribers. Now that gone up as well, to which now we're at 900, and the watch time as well essentially gone up as well. So that strategy on Tik pushed people to actually go on X, which is Twitter, and also to go on but now to rebuild TikTok, and we have to start the journey again. So that's why I was saying, with time management and using all these project planners like Monday, etc., the reality is it takes more time to sit down and think, what are we willing to set aside? Because I've been told, put some lipstick on for your videos. And I'm like, I'm not selling makeup, I'm selling knowledge. It's difficult to sell knowledge. You're laughing.
I'm laughing for a very relatable reason, but you go on.
Somebody said that to me. I said, put some lipstick on, babe, get your face done. And I'm like, but I'm selling knowledge. I'm not selling the face. I'm not selling body. This is pure knowledge. I can't make it look beautiful. You have to be interested in the knowledge, essentially. And those are some of the comments that I do receive. And people's like, why are you not wearing these outfits? I'm like, I will dress the way I dress usually, which is either in a tracksuit bottom or in my uniform, which is my work clothes, which is a dress and a jacket. And I said, that's it. Because I'm not going out to dinner. Why am I doing lifestyle and doing all these things? It doesn't compute, because I want people to hear what I'm saying. But then you have some really amazing people like yourself with the content that you do share. From when you started, as you said, because I was there during that journey, and I knew some of your hashtags as well on TikTok, if you remember, so that we could get the same views, because we were only talking and I felt like you were my friend, but maybe that's just in my head, who knows? It's a difficult journey when it comes to marketing, and to get some of the businesses to buy into what you're doing. Like I said, you have certain people who have views and they'll say, well, I want you to work on this project. This is how I want it to be. And then you say, well, that is not actually going to work, because when you want to capture people, you need like 30 seconds of good. Don't drag it out. I know usually with people, they will say, oh, if you want to heal yourself, let me tell you a story. And then they'll tell you at the end. I said, no, you have to tell them in the beginning, and then we got to the end. Let's make them laugh at the end. Maybe they will stay and watch the video. Let's try and change the narrative in terms of how we do marketing, because people need to remember who you are. And when they're loyal to what you're selling, then it makes the journey much easier. But I'm not a marketing expert. I'm just a girl who did drama, who wants to share knowledge, essentially. So, yeah.
Absolutely agreed. And to be honest, I was told the same. That's why I was laughing. And I'm not I'm not wearing makeup at all.
Mhm.
So I look like this every day at night. Even when I'm going out, I wear the same things. So this is my natural me. There's nothing fake. I don't have time for that to play a role.
Neither do I.
So that is an important message. Is there anything that you want to share with our audience? And I know that we are sharing also the hashtags, so Project Dissemination to the World, PhDHardtalk, and Postdoc Transformation. So is there anything that you would like to share with our audience?
I think what I would love to share is, we are just normal people who came up with ideas, and we saw the value in our ideas. And we know that the people that actually respond back, they see the value in our ideas, which is very entrepreneurial, because that's all you need. You need somebody to buy into it. And essentially, our appeal to you today is, if you're a business and you see the value in what we do, because we have so much experience and expertise now, speaking for both of us, feel free to get in contact, because the work that we put into the YouTube, this interview, it is a lot of work. We love it. It's not because we're looking for money. We need money, but that's just a transaction. This we enjoy. And we know that with the information, because we sell knowledge, we know it impacts businesses, it impacts community, it impacts the youth, third generation way below, and it impacts the decision makers. Because sometimes they stumble upon our videos on TikTok and we've received messages where we go, I didn't think you for my TikTok. Oh wow, thank you. And sometimes we can't mention names, but we're like, you know, you're the celebrity used for my video. And it's not that we're clout chasing and we don't even mention it to people. It's because we know the value of what we're doing and we're okay with our steady growth, but we also need that bit of boost if you think this is a business that I want to work with or the individual that I want to work with. And Professor Eleanor has students, so they're looking for work. So if you think what we're doing is essential for the communities, feel free to contact us. And we are borderless as well. That is the best part. And we don't belong to the universities. That is the best part as well. So get in contact.
Absolutely, I can just echo you. And we've got all the contact details in the show notes. So here, and then I hope that you will tune in and subscribe to PhD Hard Talk on YouTube, on Twitter, wherever you get your video podcasts, and also to my show, the Postdoc Transformation Show, for scientists leaping into business. Have you found this episode so far helpful for yourself? Well, maybe you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, or wherever you get our show. And also share this episode with your PhD bestie because that would encourage us to help the underprivileged, underrepresented, and underserved early career scientists leaping into business. This would also ensure that you don't miss a future episode. Also, our subscription and listening numbers are key for finding the right sponsors for our show so that we can help you for free. And now, back to the show. And I really appreciate the focus on being entrepreneurial, Noma, because I really do think that this is a missing content piece in the PhD journey and at graduate schools. I was never taught to be thinking entrepreneurial. Never was a professor trusting me with a budget, which is strange because that would be something that you could delegate so that the students know the very few limited resources that we have and that we have to make more out of that limited capacities. And I think part of the drama that really comes out of the PhD journey is because we don't know how to sell ourselves into a better job.
Essentially, yeah.
And that's your show and my show that will help to make a difference.
And the reality is, if we look at a lot of PhD and postdoc individuals that have such amazing ideas, they want to start their businesses, but they're not taught the basics in terms of people. I've worked in HR for so long. I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's why I say what I say. PhD and postdocs, they understand red tape and they think that industry doesn't have red tape, but there is red tape everywhere. It doesn't matter where you work, there is always red tape because everybody has a boss. And whatever the boss at the top says, that's it. And if there's an agenda and we get into groupthink and we're pushing for that, that is what happens. And something that you've mentioned there, we're not really taught to manage our finances. We're not really taught to manage our time, but we're expected to get it done. Some people are proactive. We can get it done. Some people need to go through the learning for that. And when we look at, I think the first person I ever interviewed, who was Alex, who said, I'm leaving, like, I'm done, I'm not doing academia, so much red tape, I was willing to spend my own money, the university said no, my friend was willing to do that, they said no, I'm done, I'm going to industry. I hadn't interviewed him yet, and I said, I would give him time, hopefully we can have a conversation in the near future to talk about the red tape in industry. Because I came from industry and I said, I'm done with the politics. I am done. I'm a woman. I've suffered. I've knocked on every door. How dare they? And I realized I'm black while I was working. I didn't know how black I was, right? If all of that drama, and then I got into academia, I said, wow, politics is whom you know and a bit of what you know, but whom you know. And you can see everything play out. So then now I've come to a realization whereby I'm like, what do you actually want to do with your life, Norma? Do you want to stay in industry, or are you staying in academia, or are you doing both? Or do you just want to be in your little house and just rock backwards and forth? What do you actually want to do? Because I realize it's the people, like you say, in terms of emotional intelligence, our behaviors, our conduct. And also some people, they just like money. So they'll do anything for money, even if it hurts you, and they'll come back and apologize after. Some people just like fame. It's a catch-22, but we learn to navigate through all of these challenges, and the journey becomes more rewarding than the actual end part in terms of your goal, if that makes sense.
I built my postdoc transformation as a digital business, and I chose ActiveCampaign to be the centerpiece of all my services like email course, podcast, newsletter, show notes, website, sales page, merch shop, forms, whatever it is, as needed. As a former IT strategy consultant, I have high requirements on my tech stack, and ActiveCampaign is a must-have recommendation. I use it daily. If you want to create your own digital business with various lead magnets and funnel options, DM or email me ActiveCampaign so I can share my experience and consult you. You can also use my affiliate links for perks launching your own digital business. Absolutely agreed. Yeah, it really is a learning. And like you, I spent years in academia, leaped into industries, and after a couple of years being in industries, and I was surprised how happy I was.
Yeah.
I felt pregnant. And then I remember that I think that what I see from women becoming moms, working moms, I don't think that the way I want to perform and the way I want to be recognized is feasible in industries. And so I tried to become a professor at an applied university where I knew that there I would have the space to be the professor that I want to be, role modeling a new type of professor who can be a mom of young children. I did breastfeeding until 16 and 13 months. So all of my students at that time were absolutely aware that I am not available for them every 2 or 3 hours. It is important to understand that the red tape is everywhere. And that's like what we just discussed about the names of the game. Okay, so Noma, let's wrap up this episode. And I'm sure that my audience wants you to come back for another season. But for now, is there anything that you want to say?
So I think it's difficult to have one thing to say, but there's a lot to say, essentially. And I think the first thing first is thank you to everybody that literally watches or listens to our content and goes on our website, reads our blog, and participate whichever way. That is the first thing. And number two is to say, share the content with your friends, family, colleagues at work, because between the two of us, there's so much wealth of knowledge here. As I said, I've worked with people and I don't think I like people, but you have somebody who writes papers over here and publishes, teaches, does everything, and also understands what it is to be an entrepreneur and what it is to go out in the big bad world as a mother, as an auntie, not a grandparent yet, but you see, not yet. We're getting that. But for somebody who understands how difficult it is to be an entrepreneur in this space and this current space whereby there's so much inflation, businesses are tight with their purses, and organizations are thinking about crushing the little small businesses the best way that they can, the bigger ones, because people are going to start going local now. That's the new trend. Buy from the farmer down the street than go to a big supermarket if there is a farmer down the street. That's the way we're going now because everything's so expensive. And in the UK, we can blame Brexit. But the actual reality is there's so much going on. It's not even bread of it at this moment in time. What I'm trying to say is we appreciate everything that you do for us, just as being an audience, and also the companies that have approached us who are really serious, who want to work with us. And there's something exciting that Professor Eleanore is doing, and I would throw it in there, which is in the pharmaceutical industry. If you are a pharmaceutical company and are looking for somebody to help you to open the doors that you're struggling with, be it collaboration with universities, collaborating in local industry, Professor Eleanore is the lady to go to, because she has those links, and it's going to be exciting coming into Q3 in terms of the pharmaceutical industry, because like I said, the cost of living is going up. So that means some of us will be depressed, some of us will be stressed. That means we're getting a lot more prescriptions than usual. So the industry is going to be booming. So time for you to spend in terms of your marketing, getting your brand out there in terms of the pharmaceutical industry. And coming back to me, any companies that want to work with me, let's have a conversation. And I think that's about it. Subscribe to PhDHardtalk on YouTube. That's Noma Mguni.
And Eleonore Soei-Winkels.
No, I love it.
Sliding in. Wow, awesome. Thank you so much, Noma. It was really, really a pleasure.
No, I love it.
A long time coming.
A long time coming, literally. I'm happy, and thank you so much.
Do you want a transcript of our episode? And our episode sponsors answers to all 6 bold questions so that you can choose to apply. Do you want to nominate your potential employer of choice so that we can ask them our bold questions? For all of that, click on our links in our show notes and on our website, www.postdoctransformation.com. Remember to check your readiness to leap out of science and to enroll in our free email course, Career Transition Made Simple. Thanks for your attention. I'm Professor Dr. Eleonore Soei-Winkels, the host of your seasonal postdoc transformation show. Hey, you're still here? And you are a future HR or talent management leader? Well, I want to talk to you about a powerful tool that can transform the way organizations communicate internally. How about creating a podcast like this one? In today's fast-paced business world, effective communication is the cornerstone of success. So how can you engage your employees, convey your company's culture, and share knowledge in a dynamic, authentic, and accessible way? Well, to me, the answer lies in podcasting, obviously. So picture this, a podcast tailor-made for your organization where you and your real employees and leaders share success stories and updates in a conversational, engaging format. It's like having your own radio show, but with a corporate twist. Absolutely branded. Now, why should you consider this as a future HR and talent management professional? Well, podcasts are accessible. So your employees can tune in during their daily commute, while multitasking, off-screen, or walking, and it's flexible and it can be easily repurposed in different formats and languages. You know what I'm talking about, right? So it actually humanizes your organization, and podcasts allow you to bring a company's culture to life. You can interview leaders, team members, and highlight what makes your workplace unique and connect with those team members who are far away or on parental leave when they are most receptive for your internal communication. And in the era of AI-generated communications, a podcast with your business leaders in real life is a real human way to reach your employees. You can inform your people every day, everywhere, on demand, and not just during the typical onboarding and promotion seasons. Lastly, it's a platform for continuous learning. Whether it's training materials, leadership insights, or industry trends, podcasts keep your team informed and inspired. So, as you prepare to step into the world of HR, talent management, and leadership, consider the impact you can make by introducing a corporate podcast. It's a game changer for internal communications and aligns perfectly with a modern work environment. So, Are you ready to inform with a human touch? Create a podcast with me. I'm Eleonore Soei-Winkels, the host of the Postdoc Transformation Show. Do you need inspiration? Well, you can get a list of free 30 sample episode titles to be customized for your company. Just enter your email address on our company podcast form on postdoctransformation.com. Postdoc Transformation. Postdoc Transformation.